You cry where others don't. From music. From commercials. From someone else's story that has nothing to do with you. And somewhere deep inside you think, what is wrong with me? But here's what I'm going to tell you right now. There's not just nothing wrong with you. There's something far more rare and strange going on. And science has finally proven it. People who cry easily are not weak people. They are people with a different brain. Literally. A different architecture of neural connections. Over thousands of years of evolution, humanity has been shaping a certain type of being. Beings capable of feeling what others simply don't notice. This is not an accident of nature. This is a survival mechanism. One of the most ancient. And one of the most powerful. You just never thought about it that way. Most people think that tears are simply an emotional reaction. You get upset. You cry. You calm down. Something like releasing pressure from a pipe. It sounds logical. It sounds simple. But that's exactly why it's wrong. Because if tears were just an emotional release, everyone would cry the same way. In the same situations. With the same frequency. But that's not the case. One person watches the final scene of a movie and stays cold as stone. Another one is sobbing over a 30-second commercial about a dog. Why? It's not about the intensity of emotions. It's about the structure of the brain. Researchers from Harvard University and Radboud University in the Netherlands conducted a series of experiments. They wanted to understand what happens in the brain at the moment of tears. Participants were shown emotional scenes, music, stories, and their brains were scanned in real time. What they discovered surprised everyone. People prone to easy crying showed significantly heightened activity in a region called the anterior cingulate cortex. This is the center of empathy. The center that processes other people's pain. But here's what shocked the scientists. This same region was activated even when a person was simply watching a stranger. They were literally physically living through someone else's emotions. Inside their own body. This is not a metaphor. This is neurobiology. Here is the hidden truth that almost no one talks about. People who cry easily are not those who can't handle life. They are those who process the world at a different resolution. As if they have a mode switched on that others simply don't have. Psychologists call this high sensory sensitivity. And according to research data, about 20% of the entire world's population falls into this category. Every fifth person around you. They notice details that others miss. They hear intonations where others only hear words. They feel the atmosphere of a room before anyone has even said a thing. This is not weakness. This is a superpower that nobody warned you about. But here is where it gets even stranger. Because this is not only about sensitivity. It's about how these people affect those around them. And you may not even realize what role they play in your life. In 2016, psychologists conducted an unusual experiment. They gathered two groups of people. One group consisted of people with low emotional reactivity. The other group were those who cried easily. Both groups were told the same story about loss. Afterwards, they were asked to describe what they felt. The results were striking. The first group described the story. The facts. The events. The second group described sensations. Smells. Colors. The silence that came after. They weren't just listening to the story. They were living through it. But the most interesting part came next. The people from the second group were asked to talk with strangers who were going through a real crisis. And the level of trust that formed between them was 3 times higher. Just from one conversation. Without any special training. Without techniques. They simply knew how to be present. You are not just watching this. You are part of it yourself. If you have ever felt that you cry too easily, think about this. Maybe you are not someone who can't cope. Maybe you are one of those people others turn to in their darkest moments. Not because you give advice, but because you know how to feel. And that is rare. In a world where most people have learned to hide everything inside. But here is what no one will tell you. Research in the field of social psychology reveals something unsettling. People with high emotional sensitivity don't just feel others better. They also absorb other people's emotions far more intensely. Like a sponge that is never wrung out. Scientists from Stanford discovered that such people enter a state of emotional exhaustion much faster. Especially in toxic relationships or aggressive environments. They are unable, and often simply cannot, filter out other people's pain. Because their brain is literally not built for that kind of barrier. And this is the most important thing in this video. This sensitivity is not just a gift. It requires protection. People who cry easily more often than others become targets for emotional manipulation. Because manipulators sense it, this person will respond. This person will believe. This person will not be able to walk away. And if you recognize yourself in this description, that is not a reason to become colder. It is a reason to become wiser. To protect your sensitivity. To choose carefully who you open it to. Because such things cannot be given away to just anyone. The world has always seen tears as weakness. But tears are a language. One of the most honest languages that exist. People who cry easily are people who have not yet forgotten how to be fully alive. In the truest sense of those words. They carry something within them that humanity is losing with every generation. The ability to feel someone else's pain as their own. And perhaps that is not a weakness of our species. Perhaps it is the last thing holding us together. If you recognize yourself in this video, or recognize someone close to you, subscribe to this channel. Here we talk about the things people usually stay silent about. About psychology. About human nature. About what is hidden behind ordinary behavior. And before you go, here is a question I want to leave with you. If sensitivity is an evolutionary advantage, why has our world spent so long teaching us to be ashamed of it? Think about that.